This is a guy who has literally spent virtually his entire adult life fighting for Medicare for all. He literally wrote a book about it. Okay? He wrote a whole book on the issue. So it's really funny that they're trying to like test his credentials here. And I suspect the next thing that they're going to do is just say like, oh, he doesn't even want Medicare for all, in spite being backed by Bernie Sanders. The McMorrow campaign's current attack on El-Sayed began on March 26 when she hit him over Hasan Piker. Her support almost immediately stopped as she continued. It began to rapidly fall. El-Sayed, meanwhile, went from third to first. Just an objectively terrible strategy. McMorrow campaign's next move is going to be, why is Hasan Piker not a physician? Look at this. Look at this. Come at the king, you best not miss. Goddamn. We'll talk about the Mike Lawler attack in a second. But yeah, obviously, as I said yesterday, it was unbelievably stupid, the attack ads. And it also exposed this deep network of centrist Democrats called like Democratic Majority, I think, right? Or Elect Democrats. There's a bunch of different like groups. Should we even call Abdul El-Sayed a doctor? After all, he is Muslim. Should Muslims with MDs be called doctors? Find out more at 7. Oh my God, Mallory McMorrow gets 0% in Detroit. That's crazy. Anyway, so yesterday they put out this hit piece. That called into question Dr. Abdul El-Sayed's medical credentials. Now, I can't think of a worse hit piece. Like, I think tying someone like myself as a dangerous radical and trying to terror jacket Abdul El-Sayed could potentially work in a general election. And therefore, you can actually, like, that could be somewhat consequential, right? Obviously, it wasn't, and it doesn't really matter. It was certainly not going to work in the primary regardless, right? But even then, even though that was a bad decision overall, there's at least a little bit more logic behind it, right? It's certainly not going to work in Michigan, though. It's not like we're talking about Alabama, right? We're talking about goddamn Michigan. Now, this line of attack, however, that came, shouts out to Liz Smith, by way of Liz Smith's flax in Politico, that released this article in Politico, calling into question Dr. Abdul El-Sayed's credentials. I talked about it yesterday. Is so bad. It is a far dumber way to attack Dr. Abdul El-Sayed. Okay? And the reason why I say that is because now you put the man's background in the forefront of the conversation. To the average Michigander, what the f do you think they're going to think when you're like, we shouldn't call this guy who has an MD from University of Michigan, okay, and Columbia, and also is a Rhodes Scholar in the field of public health from Oxford, who has literally worked for the Detroit Health Department and has eradicated 300,000 Michiganders' medical debt. It's so insane to, in a last-ditch effort, to try to take one of your opponent's strongest points and remind everybody that you, as a politician, worked for a couple years designing logos for cars, and then moved to Michigan, and then constantly tweeted about how you hate Michigan while you moved there, while simultaneously being like, you know who my opponent is? Clearly an unqualified liar. Why is he an unqualified liar? Oh, because he is one of the most credentialed people to run for Senate, the first doctor, because that's what he is, and not just like a doctor of I don't know, the language of English or something. Like, he didn't just get a doctorate in economics, a medical doctor with an MD to run for the Democratic Party Senate in 76 years or so. Okay? Republicans have some doctors in office. Democrats don't. So it's really stupid for them. It is really, really stupid for them to draw attention to how unbelievably qualified Dr. Abdul El-Sayed is, okay? And not only did they release this information, right? I said, Liz, you can't be this desperate. Here's a paragraph from this hit piece that talks about Abdul's credentials in public health. He eliminated the medical debt of 300K Michiganders, okay? Like, this was such a dud. But of course, all of our favorite ops on the timeline immediately started dunking on it. Okay, all of our favorite ops on the timeline started boosting this. many of which are paid. Majority Democrats is the group that was reported on by Lever News that is one of these centrist think tanks, okay? Their job is to keep the center at the core of power within the Democratic Party, within the National Democratic Party. They work in tandem with the Searchlight Institute and numerous other think tanks, right? And Mallory McMorrow is obviously leaning in to support from these groups because she's trying to present herself not as someone with real conviction, but as someone who will say what she thinks is the right thing to win. In my opinion, that's business as usual politics. That's unbelievably untrustworthy. That's the type of politician that you know, once they get in office, if they get in office at all, is going to sell you, is going to sell you out. Okay? But yeah, remember, I already gave you Dr. Abdul El-Sayed's background, right? Unbelievably credentialed in the field of medicine, literally worked in public health, which is what his degrees were for. Right? Bombshell from D. Lipman. Abdul El-Sayed is potentially Democrats' frontrunner. Even if you can't practice medicine, you can always practice telling the truth. Every single one of these people is in some way, shape, or form related to Majority Dems, a think tank, okay? The graphic design community does not claim McMorrow. While Dr. El-Sayed was wiping out medical debt for over 300,000 people and getting every kid in Detroit glasses, McMorrow was working at Gawker and doing invaluable work of being second for a toll road design competition, really serving humanity. You can't possibly compare his resume to hers. I don't even care, by the way. I don't even care about Mallory McMorrow's background. But obviously, when you open up this new front of attack, people are going to, one, dig deeper into Dr. Abdul El-Sayed's background and find out that you're an insane person for even calling this into question, okay? But then they're going to look at your background. You're going to look at your background and go, wait, what the fuck have you done? What the fuck have you done for the state of Michigan? What have you done for Michiganders? McMorrow received a Bachelor of Arts in Industrial Design from the University of Notre Dame in 2008. During her junior year at Notre Dame, she won a public design contest for the 2018 version of Mazda 3. She also finished second in a contest design the logo for the Indiana Toll Road. After graduation, McMorrow worked for design firms in New York and Los Angeles, as well as for Mattel, Gawker, before moving to Michigan. I think a really huge part of this is them not realizing how many normies have at least partially lived experience of being called anti-Semitic maliciously. So those people hear what you have to say and go, oh, I get what they're doing to Hasan now. Oh, no, that's for sure. That was the first thing. Mallory McMorrow has an undergraduate degree in industrial design and worked for 5 minutes at Mattel before becoming a lifelong politician. She's not even from Michigan and moved there from Southern California in order to run for office. She hates Michigan. Let's send her back, says Michael from Pennsylvania. But yeah, the majority Democrats have assembled a party within a party of PACs, wealthy donors and consultants pushing Democrats at the center and testing the limits of campaign finance law. And yes, they also work with Tallarico as well, which is very frustrating. I'll be honest. I think Liz Smith also works for Tallarico. I mean, she's a media demon, okay? Liz Smith is a media demon. She has a lot of experience in the DC and especially the New York media circuit, okay? So she could be an asset for some good candidates if she chose to be an asset. She will also sometimes get out of the way, even though Andrew Cuomo, someone who she previously worked for, was running against Zohran Mamdani. She was actually somewhat sympathetic to Zohran Mamdani, so Zohran Mamdani still received a barrage of hate ads and a barrage of unjustifiable hatred, not dissimilar to what Abdul's going through right now, but it wasn't directed by Liz Smith, okay? Yeah, this is a recent AES fundraising pitch. Hi, my name is Dr. Abdul El-Sayed. I want to talk to you why I got into politics and why I'm here to stay. The rest of the ad, of course, is I trained as a physician and epidemiologist and have served as the director of the Department of Health and Human and Veteran Services in Michigan's biggest county. Now I'm running to represent Michigan in the U.S. Senate. You read that right. I left the job I love, put my family's life on hold, and launched this campaign because in the richest, most powerful country in the world, life shouldn't be this hard. It shouldn't be this hard to pay for groceries, see a doctor, or believe your kids will have just a bit better than you. You know what's really funny? What's next? Are they going to fucking hit him on Medicare for all? Or are they going to be like, Dr. Abdul El-Sayed doesn't care about Medicare for all? Because, like, this is a guy who I'm not entirely aligned with ideologically. Abdul El-Sayed is not a socialist. We've had a conversation about it on the stream where he was like, oh, it's actually corporate capitalism that's at fault, right? That's the failure. It's capitalism has gotten out of control. We got to like diminish its power or whatever, right? But why? Why do I still trust him? Why do I still ride for him? Even if we're not ideologically aligned on this issue. It's a very important one, as a matter of fact. It's like the underpinning ideology. Ideological difference, because I know that he will fight for Medicare for all no matter what. I believe him and I trust him because I know that he has moral conviction. Okay, this is a guy who has literally spent virtually his entire adult life fighting for Medicare for all. He literally wrote a book about it. Okay, he wrote a whole book on the issue. So it's really funny that they're trying to like test his credentials here. And I suspect the next thing that they're going to do is just say like, oh, he doesn't even want Medicare for all, in spite being backed by Bernie Sanders. The hooker in your bed is getting bored. It's March. It's Marchy poo. The best tweet that came out of the article was from the dude who released that recording that worked for the campaign, and he started talking about how the reason that he quit was because of Abdul's character. Yeah, no, that's a sex pestiny operative. Weirdly enough, I can't believe that like this psychopathic pedophilic sex cult has operatives that can, you know, embed themselves inside of campaigns like this. What is this? Writing a book is not equal to credibility. Sarah Longwell wrote a book on widening the Democratic tent. Good point. Except he also literally worked in Detroit as the executive of their public health services. What do you mean? Like, what is he supposed to do? He ran for governor on a Medicare for all ticket. He didn't win, and then he went back to public health. I agree with you about Abdul. Yeah, you're just on principle. You're saying books are irrelevant and we shouldn't read them. Yeah, it's just like very disingenuous. The way that the way that people are attacking him is unbelievably disingenuous. And I've spent my career fixing broken systems, rebuilding Detroit's health department, erasing $700 million in medical debt, and delivering for working folks. It's not just about fighting the bad guys. It's about building a government that works for us. You know what's funny? They're going to be like, Dr. Abdul El-Sayed actually eradicated medical debt for only 299,990 Michiganders. And yet, in his official campaign communiques, he maliciously and Islamically lies and says the number was 300,000. Who will put an end to the lies? The Islamic Sharia-style lies being advanced by the Islamic Sharia doctorate recipient, Dr. Abdul El-Sayed. That's when you know the hit pieces have accelerated and advanced. When they start saying his full name, it's not Abdul, but Abdul Rahman. Yeah. Jeremiah Johnson had some words on this too. Again, literally one of the most credentialed, one of the most well-read people running for Senate right now on either side, obviously. Republicans are not exactly brilliant, but it doesn't matter, right? And this fucking dickhead, founder of CN liberalism, one of the worst things Donald Trump ingrained into American policy is the idea that if your base likes you enough, you never have to back down or apologize for anything. Does it matter whether Abdul ever got his medical license or treated patients or had residency? In the context of a Senate run, not especially if we're being real, but it seems indisputable that he was deliberately deceptive by using titles like physician, playing up his doctor's credentials, talking about how he healed people, etc. And even if you want to say that's a gray area rather than a straight up lie, people used to be embarrassed by that kind of deception. It used to be normal for politicians to apologize for things. Scandals used to matter. Trump has taught everyone that you never need to apologize ever. Double down, triple down, caught lying or doing something immoral or shady, mock the people criticizing you. Yeah, except he didn't do any of those things. You're inventing an alternative reality where he did those things with the hopes that, you know, he's doing it Islamically, and therefore maybe some people will racistly agree with what I have to say. It's a last-ditch effort to try to undermine the candidacy of a guy who is unbelievably credentialed, not even against his immediate primary opponents, Haley Stevens and Mallory McMorrow, and certainly against the general opponent, Mike Rogers, but also in comparison to the rest of the fucking people running for office right now. And these guys are trying to make a mountain out of a molehill, and it's going to fucking backfire spectacularly in their faces. Because, again, this is hitting him in an avenue where he is excelling, okay? It is the equivalent of being like, well, Dr. Abdul El-Sayed claims he can rep 3 plates on his bench press, but here's a video showing he could only do 3. 3 reps is not being able to rep. Okay, the distinction is very clear. What else is Dr. Abdul El-Sayed lying about? How many reps can Mallory McMorrow do on the bench press? With what kind of weight? You know what I mean? Do you understand? I mean, it sounds like a silly argument that I'm proposing here, but like, it's that stupid. You're hitting him on one of his strongest areas in his background. Rally the base around you, attack rather than defend. You're actually proud of whatever they're mad at. Yeah, of course. He should be. He's a fucking doctor, man. Suck my dick. Ignoring the pablum here, politicians used to be more honest before Donald Trump is not a respectable thought for anyone over the age of 25 to hold. Oh man, Adam Johnson says, I wonder what lobbies, industries, and corporations funded that guy's think tank. Exactly. These guys have no motion, and it's actually shocking how bad they are at shit slinging. It's actually unbelievable how bad they are at shit slinging. Part of that is because There is no more like gatekeeping with the advent and now obviously major successes of independent media on the internet. It's a lot more difficult to get together and muster up the forces and just like ritualistically humiliate certain candidates that you don't like because they're, anti-Israel. By the way, 35% off on 5+ gifted subs. Subscribe to the Piker Broadcasting Service, the People's Broadcasting Service. And if you gift subs, it's 35% off right now before I continue. Piker Broadcasting Service, the People's Broadcasting Service, brought to you by the people, for the people. Thank you. Piker Broadcasting Service for tomorrow's news today. God damn, the gifted subs are showering. But yeah, corporate media saw Abdul poll this morning, panicked, and then Politico sent Adam Wren, their 2020 Buttigieg reporter. Liz Smith was Buttigieg's lead consultant and is now McMorrow's, to put together this not-so-damning hit piece. And then because they knew that there wasn't enough motion on the hit piece itself, and I've met Adam Wren, I think he's a fine person, but you got to make money somehow, I guess, and you could be a hatchet guy for someone like Liz Smith. All right, swapping to the other camera here. What Kami says. Thank you for the 50 bones. Thank you, Kami. Thank you, what Kami says. Wait, this is not better. This is worse. What? Oh, true. Yeah. QE streams. Anyway, also, here's some more support from blue sky liberals who are not actually on board with this shit at all. Turns out they are consistent in their wokeness. Okay? They don't like Graham Plattner, but they love Abdul El-Sayed. This was a question I actually posed the Pod Johns. When I talked to them, I was like, look, Graham Plattner has red flags. Abdul does not. So let's see if people are actually let's see if the Democratic base is truly looking for real fighters who will push for Medicare for all, who will question our loyalty to Israel, or if they're just enamored by Graham Plattner's Nazi tattoos and his machine gunner background. And it turns out Blue Sky hated Graham Plattner's, Nazi tattoo, but certainly they love Abdul El-Sayed. McMorrow's team put their hit piece on Blue Sky, and they're getting whooped belt to ass over there. He's an MD who decided to pursue a career in public health, where he is a well-cited academic professor and policymaker. You can report this to post to Blue Sky as a misleading or containing false information about an election. I encourage everyone to do, since they're literally lying. Done and done. Turns out it was a really fucking bad idea to post this. There's still time to delete it, Mal. I lived in Michigan for many years and have a ton of respect for McMorrow, but you are burning through that respect quickly with this. I've seen this so many times. McMorrow was seemingly an inoffensive Warrenite when she started this, okay? When she started this journey, she was seen as an inoffensive Warrenite. People are not fond of what Mallory McMorrow's team had to say about Dr. Abdul El-Sayed. He's literally an MD, PhD, Rhodes Scholar law. Mallory, you're underwater by 77 points among young voters. Maybe focus on that. No, she shouldn't focus on that. She should read the writing on the wall. She should stay into split Stevens voters. Oh my God. You're out of focus, my guy. It doesn't matter. This is an automatic camera. There's nothing I can do about it, okay? Yeah. And one of the funniest things that happened in this process is that there was one of those guys who will love to be noticed by me once again. But there was one dude who was like fucking crying apparently because I laughed when I saw a photo of them. They were shitting on Abdul El-Sayed. Turns out that person has tweeted about me 1,500 times in the year 2020, okay? You can't claim to be a former fan who gave all of their last remaining dollars when you were all but a child, who is now a fallen fan. If you've tweeted about me and smeared me and also Abdul El-Sayed, but smeared me specifically 1,500 times after you became a Destiny fan, you really, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be very sincere. There are some of you that, are in here right now because you still have time to get out of it. I say this all the time, okay? I say this all the time. I promise you, you will be healthier if you do. Yeah. Honestly, Hasan should have been a lot meaner to a racist sack of shit like yourself. Hey, Abdul El-Sayed, since you're a doctor and all, just curious, where did you do your residency? Yeah, back in high school, the only money I had came from Christmas and birthday presents. I used it to send money to a man I honestly thought would have a good impact on the world. Now that same man is mocking me and my peers leader years later. What a world we live in, huh? Okay. He gave me $35, okay, $35 to create this sob story. He's tweeted about me in 2026 alone 1,500 times, okay? 1,500 times saying heinous shit about me, okay? Literally, all he does is fucking tweet about me and tweet about the left flank candidates. Of course I'm gonna laugh, dude. Your worldview is horrifying. It's bad. If you want to fucking defeat fascists, you probably should lock in on tweeting 1,500 times about fascist enablers and not someone like myself, okay? It's so unbelievably clear that for a lot of these people, they develop parasocial relationships with certain content creators. Maybe it's myself at some point. And then they fall out of favor because I either yelled at them or banned them or said something that was like deeply personal to them and they were at odds with the way I see the world and they didn't know how to fucking figure that out. They didn't know that you can just like have disagreements with people on core issues, right? And still have a deeper understanding that we're fighting the same fight. We're fighting against fascism, right? And and when that happens, a lot of people, I think, lose their fucking minds, dude.